right, time now is 9:20. Want to save some skrills? Get your prom date a corsage?
It's so easy. Just make it yourself.
Let's check in with Dina-I-Y. Dina cut for herself.
Good morning, everyone. Happy prom day. This is so much fun. Okay, you know I love to Dina-I-Y things, and I actually started to do this for our own wedding where I was making my groomsmen's boutonnieres. The problem is I couldn't trust them to have it for the whole wedding, and I didn't want pictures to go sour. But for prom, I feel like you can trust those guys a lot more than some of our groomsmen. So this is the final product of what we're going to show you today. So this is the corsage that would go on the lady.
You made that?
I just made these, yes.
Gorgeous.
And
What
this
the?
is the boutonniere.
Oh my gosh,
Okay,
that boutonniere is
so
fabulous.
imagine this. I'm going to lift it up for you. Imagine this. John, would you wear that?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
It's great.
I love it.
That
okay,
is really
so
cool.
here I am, excited for myself. Okay, so the way that I did this is I actually have a lot of these craft items already at home, but these are also ways that you can do this and preserve them instead of using real flowers. If you don't want to use the real stuff, you can use some of the craft stuff. So they do have, did you know, fabric flowers already at the craft store. Some of them are connected to their little plastic pieces. You can just cut them off and they're kind of shaped in a little flower. That's what I used. Also, tons of different materials. We have a bunch of this stuff in my house because I like to decorate with this kind of stuff. So what I did is the trick here is actually creating pyramids, creating triangles for the boutonniere. So you'll notice it actually goes up into kind of a little set of 3 at the top. So this is going to be the backing. So what I did is I just used a little hot glue and I glued the stems together. So for time I did it already. So now they're all stuck. So this is going to be our base for the boutonniere. Next up, you take some of your little flowers that are still connected to the stem, and you can just stick them on here and then start building. It really does not have to be a certain rhyme or reason. You can kind of just stick them on, use the glue, watch your fingies, and then I just stack kind of one on top of the other in a little bit of like a building process, right? So they're kind of going upward. And then once you get those laid out, you stick them on like this. The hot glue is going to keep them all together, and then this is all one chunk. So you don't want these stems showing, right? So you can use a fun ribbon. I have these little burlap pieces of string too, so we'll start there. Let's cut the bottoms of the stems so that you don't have too much hanging down the jacket, right? And then you wrap the string at the top and use one piece of glue to tack it at the top. Sorry to Julian, I'm all over the place with the camera work here, but you're doing great. Okay, so you tack it there, and then you just start wrapping. And then you're covering up your stems. And at the bottom, you would also hot glue the bottom piece. There you go. And you wrap it a few times, and bam, hold it for a couple seconds, and now you have it completely covered. Now to fill in the gaps, I used a lot of different pieces here. I used some ribbon, so in this one I actually took a little pine cone, I took a ribbon, I took some buttons, and I just filled it in. So wherever you see gaps, you can fill it, and you can also use buttons that you have around the house. I have this whole tin in my house of old buttons. I don't know how many of you have this with like the old tomato. You could just find some buttons, fill in the gaps, match the dress for the ladies. You can create something very similar for the corsage for the ladies as well. And there you go, you've got your DIY boutonniere for prom. And then they can hold on to this, and it's kind of a fun little piece that you get to save. And here's the final product. I added a couple of green leaves to these from the plants outside.
That is really cool. Also, it's a tradition as old as time, those cookie tins never having cookies in them.
It's so true.
It's always disappointing.
And they're
you open it up,
indestructible.
buttons.
Buttons? Aw, the heck?
Happy Dina-I-Y!
Thanks, Dina. That was really cool.